Hey guys, and welcome back to Bee's Kitchen. I hope everyone is doing well. If you're new to this channel, you are welcome. Please don't forget to click that subscribe button. So today I am super excited to share with you this delicious Kontomire stew, also known as Palava sauce. Guys, Kontomire stew is my favorite stew in Ghana, and also it has been requested by a lot of you guys. So you know your girl had to come through for you guys. This stew is packed with smoked turkey, some Tolo beef, some mutton, some smoked mackerel. Guys, I don't want to give too much away, so stay with me and let's get started. For the Kontomire recipe, I am going to use the following ingredients. In this bowl, I have smoked turkey, and the smoked turkey have been cut into medium size, not too small and not too big. I have in this bowl tripe. Tripe is also known as Shaki, but this have been cut into small pieces. And in this bowl, I have mutton. I've cut the mutton into small pieces too. You're probably wondering why I've kept the meat medium and small. Reason being is once I take my stew from the pot, I want every part to have meat. In this bowl, I have Tolo beef, and I have been soaking the Tolo beef overnight. Reason being is Tolo beef is very salty, and soaking it overnight will remove any excess salt. And as you can see, the Tolo beef has also been cut into small pieces. I have Koobi in this bowl, and I purchased the Koobi and the Tolo beef from my local Ghanaian supermarket. Again, it's been cut and it's been soaking overnight. To steam the meat, I'll be using shallot, garlic, ginger, and Scotch bonnet. To be making the stew, I have some chopped onions. I'll be blending together shallots, ginger, garlic, and Scotch bonnet. I have my Kontomire. If you can't find Kontomire from your local Ghanaian supermarket, you can certainly use spinach and it will work perfectly. On this plate, I have my smoked mackerel, and I purchased the smoked mackerel from my local Ghanaian supermarket and I have broken it up. I have fermented fish, also known as momone, 1 tinned tomato, tomato puree, palm oil, and finally ground egusi. As always, all ingredients, including measurement, will be in the description box below. I'm going to begin by cooking the mutton and the tripe and the Tolo beef together. So I've just added the mutton to my pot, followed by the tripe. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard the water which I have been soaking the Tolo beef in. I will rinse it with clean water, and then next I will add this to my pot. I'm now going to blend together shallot, garlic, Scotch bonnet, and ginger. This is what I'll be using to cook the meat. Next, I will add enough water and I'll blend till smooth. I'm now going to add the blended mixture to the meat, and I will also rinse the blender with a little bit of water and I will add it back to the pot. Next, I'm going to add my seasonings. Feel free to season your meat using your preferred seasonings of choice. As I've added all my seasonings, I'm just going to mix everything together. I will cover and allow the meat to simmer on medium heat for 30 minutes. Time to prep my kontomire, and before I slice the kontomire, I will ensure that it is nice and clean. So I have added the kontomire to a bowl and I'm going to clean it with water. If you're using fresh spinach, please ensure that the spinach is also washed. However, if you're using frozen spinach, please take it out of the freezer the night before and allow the spinach to defrost. As the kontomire leaves are cleaned, I'm just going to layer some on my chopping board, and next I will fold the leaves over and I will chop the tips off and then I'll slice it finely. If you're using spinach, you don't need to worry about this step, but it's entirely up to you if you want to cut your spinach. Once I have the first batch of kontomire slice, I place it in a pot to which I'll be using to steam, and then I repeat until I no longer have any of the kontomire leaf left. And this is what the kontomire looks like after slicing. I'm just adding a little bit of water and I'll be steaming this on low to medium heat for 3 to 4 minutes. If you're using fresh or frozen spinach, you don't need to steam. And this is what it looks like, 3 to 4 minutes of steaming. Try not to overcook your kontomire because you don't want to cook all the nutrients out before you add it to your stew. What I'm now going to do is I'm just going to discard the water from the kontomire and I'll set this aside until I am ready to add it to my stew. Back to my meat, which has been cooking for the last 30 minutes. I've just mixed everything together and now I'm going to add the smoked turkey and I'll mix everything together. I don't have enough of the meat stock, so what I will do is I will add a little bit more water. I will cover and allow this to simmer for an additional 15 minutes until the stock reduces. And as you can see, the stock has reduced. So it's time to add my Koobi, my salted tilapia. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to discard the water which I used to soak the Koobi from the night before, and I will wash it with clean water and I will add the Koobi to the rest of the meat. I'm going to add the Koobi and I will cover and allow this to simmer for an additional 10 minutes. And guys, my meat should be ready at this point. I can clearly tell because some of the meat have fallen off the bone and also the stock has reduced even further, which I am happy about. I have turned my cooker off and I'm just using a fork to check to ensure that it is nice and tender. And as you can see, the fork has slid through, so it is ready. I'm now going to blend Scotch bonnet, garlic, ginger, and some shallots. And these are the ingredients which I'll be using to make my stew. Next, I will add a little bit of water and I'll blend till smooth. Try not to add too much water because you don't want your mixture to be watery. Now time to start making the stew. To a pot, I'm just adding palm oil and I will allow the oil to come to heat. As the oil has come to heat, I am adding my chopped onions, and next I'm going to add my momone, also known as fermented fish. If you're making palava sauce, ensure you add this fish because it just elevates your stew to the next level. I will allow this to infuse together for 2 to 3 minutes on low to medium heat until fragrant. And guys, there's something about infusing palm oil with momone and onions. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. I'm just adding the blended mixture and I'll mix everything together. I'll simmer this on low to medium heat for 5 minutes. And 5 minutes later, guys, I'm taking the stew to the next level by adding crayfish powder. Oh my goodness, crayfish powder in stews just tastes so good. I'm just going to mix everything together and I'll allow this to simmer for 2 minutes. Time to add tomato puree and I'll mix everything together well. I'll then continue to simmer the stew on low to medium heat for 3 to 4 minutes. Whilst the stew is simmering, I'm going to blend 1 tinned tomatoes till smooth. If you don't want to use tinned tomatoes, you can certainly use fresh tomatoes. I'm now going to add the blended tomatoes to my stew. I will also rinse my blender with a little bit of water and I'll add it back to the stew. Next, I will add my seasonings. As I've added all my seasonings, I'm just going to mix everything together. And next, I would allow the stew to simmer for 5 minutes on medium heat. Whilst the stew is simmering, I'm going to mix the ground egusi into a thick porridge consistency. And I'll be doing this by gradually adding water whilst mixing. And I'll continue to mix until I am happy with the consistency. This is the consistency I am looking for. It is nice and thick and not watery. This is definitely ready for the stew. And the stew has been simmering for 5 minutes and guys, it smells so good. I am just stirring just to ensure that it is not burning. Now I'm going to add the egusi, and once I've added the egusi, I will gently stir. I will cover and allow the egusi to cook on low heat for 30 minutes. Please ensure that you have turned your fire down once you add the egusi, because if your egusi burns, it will leave a bitter taste in your stew. Every 10 minutes, I will stir to ensure that the stew is not burning. I have been cooking the egusi for 30 minutes now, and now I'm just going to stir before I add the cooked meat. This is just to ensure once again that my stew is not burning. I'm now going to add the cooked meat, including the stock. Please don't discard your stock because it is full of flavor and you want this in your stew. It's very, very important. So please include your stock when you're adding your meat to the stew. As I've added all the cooked meat, I'm just mixing everything together and I will let the stew simmer on medium heat for 5 minutes. Also, guys, please don't forget to taste and adjust seasonings if needed. Time to add the smoked mackerel, and I decided to add the smoked mackerel after adding my meat. Reason being is smoked mackerel is fish. If you add it too early in your stew, it will break, and I don't want my fish to completely break in my stew, so I decided to add it before I add the kontomire. Time to add the cooked kontomire and I'll mix everything together well. If you're using fresh spinach, this is where you add your fresh spinach. And if you're using frozen spinach, which you have thawed and discarded the water, this is the stage that you also add that. Just mix everything together. And next I will cover and allow the stew to simmer on low heat for 10 minutes. And guys, the Kontomire stew is ready. Oh my goodness, I wish you were in my kitchen. Don't you just want to jump into the stew right now? Oh my god, it smells incredible. It smells amazing. I know I am certainly going to enjoy this with some boiled yam, but you can enjoy yours with plain rice. It's entirely up to you. Just look at this goodness. As always, thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to like this video, share this video, comment below, subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so, and click that notification bell which will notify you whenever I post delicious recipes like this. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.